Everyone, to another episode of UFO Undercover. I am Joe Montaldo. Hope everyone's having a great morning, great evening, great afternoon, wherever you are on our big, beautiful blue planet. We're going to introduce the guest in just a minute. I have Michael Angley co-hosting with me tonight, and Laura Lee and Dell might join us. I don't know; they're out there in the ether land somewhere in Canada and rummaging through. Well, to be frank, Laura might just have Dell in the cage, but we'll talk about that later in the show. And that could be the problem right there. He's been getting caged a lot lately for some reason or another. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's Michael Angley's fault. But for everyone, I know there's a lot going on political. I see people tearing up DC, racking the place down, killing people. Look, people, y'all are all over the age of 21. Act like it. That's all I can tell you. You know, don't be bad losers. When you lose. It just happens. For the last, we had to have 4 years of Democrats crying, bad losers. Now we're going to have 4 years of Republicans. No, we're not. Stop it. Just stop. Go on with yourselves. If you lost, you lost. If you won, you won. Congrats to the winner. Condolences to the losers. I'm a centralist. It's not as important to me as it is to y'all, but still, people, chill. Now that I got that off of my chest, we have Glovanni Sticco with us tonight, and now he's got my accent starting up. I'm trying to keep that thing hidden. He's going to be joining us. We're going to be talking about quite a few, a wide range of topics tonight, but I'm going to let him properly introduce himself. But he and I and Michael were talking just before the start of the show about Area 51, and we're going to talk about that just in a minute because it is a very interesting place. And I know a lot of our listeners have been there. I remember, we're going to storm Area 51. I'm like, yeah, come on. I'm like, please go down there. I'm coming down there with a film crew. We're going to videotape the whole thing. Of course, these people chickened out. I actually called a good friend of mine to see if I could come stay with him. He's like, yeah, come on down. We'll get the truck out. We'll go cordon off an area. He said, but I'll tell you if there's any crowds building, and that way you don't have to waste your money. And of course, it turned out to be I don't want to say a complete dud, but dudish. Let's just say it was not really. For some reason, it wasn't all that popular. Even though I think 500,000 or 600,000 people said they were going to attend, they didn't. And it would have been a nightmare because I have been to Area 51 at 3 different gates, and trying to cram that many cars on those highways would have been nightmarish. But Glovanni, why don't you come on and tell the audience a little bit about yourself, and we'll get started, man.
Yeah, thanks a lot for having me on your show, and greetings from Las Vegas. I just want to say once again, thank you for having me on your show. In a nutshell, I am a producer, writer, and filmmaker, and I just got done doing we're completing an audio book because you can't film right now. It's like really hard to do it right now. It's called Anunnaki. And I have some other things that are happening. I might be making a movie with a very famous actor named Don the Dragon Wilson. If you can recall who Don the Dragon Wilson is, he's made a bunch of movies in the 90s and the 80s and stuff. So I have a lot going on, and that project is going to be a vampire project or possibly an Italian mafia comedy thing. So I'm kind of all over the place in sci-fi and horror and whatever.
Not to interrupt you, but on the mafia thing, I can probably hook you up with some people. We got a show on the network called Wise Guys, and some of them are ex-mafia. We've also had what's his name? Right, John Elite's been on the network. He was one of the Gambinos. Well, he was a right-hand man. He was a hitman. He's been on a few times. Wow. He does stuff like now he's been on Fear City on Netflix too. You can catch him on there. But
really?
It's an interesting combination these guys are, and these guys are reformed, legit people and are trying to help children and young men out and young women out to keep them from getting into the mob. I was quite impressed, for someone who did time in both Brazil and Turkey. I was impressed that he would even take the time to care anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially in Las Vegas, you got a lot of old school wise guys that are still around from back in the neighborhood back in New York, in Jersey, So I know a guy out here too, and he had a show out. His name is Frankie Citro, and but yeah, they're dying out, but they're still left. So yeah, the mafia is a comedy thing dealing with it. It's got a bunch of stuff in it. It's got ghosts and this and that. It's supposed to be filmed in San Remo, Italy, though. But we got a lot of things happening. But I mean, that's in the works. Of course, the new thing right now is the Anunnaki thing, and I'm sure that maybe you know a little bit about Anunnakis and stuff like. So that's what I'm doing at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I was listening to the trailer you sent. I'll play it later on in the show.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, guys and girls, Threshold Radio, which is in syndication these days, I don't think they're live anymore, but they used to be syndicated here on UFO Paranormal Radio way back in the day. So we just picked up all the archives. I ran into Steven the other day. I had been publishing some old stuff, so he had sent me a letter giving me all their updated stuff till current. So that'll all be going up over the next few weeks. So keep an eye out for that. It's really good radio. It was Steven and Sam Moranto and a couple others. They did a wide variety of guests. And really good audio, good guesting, good hosting. So you'll enjoy them. But anyway, I keep getting off sidetracks tonight.
That's
again,
okay.
It's Michael's fault. Michael's here. We're blaming him.
Yeah. Michael.
Dale, where you at, man?
I'm wondering. I got a question. I'm wondering if aliens are messing with our political system because there's something completely wrong with everything that's going on, man. It's very weird. You know that? And I wouldn't put it. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past. You think Trump's an alien? Maybe.
He could be.
He's got those little hands.
Yeah, he's got that orange skin.
He is a little strange, but
Oh, seriously. I mean, you talk about ET and whatever, and that's fine. But
if aliens are that effed up, they need to stop coming to our planet.
Well, I mean, why are they probing them? Why they anally probe? I mean, talk about being messed up. But what's their destination? Stuff, what do they do? What do they do every day? What's their aim? Everybody's got to have some kind of purpose. What's their purpose? Not just to mess with us.
And I'm sure what they do with us is a very small part of what goes on in their universe. But, I was thinking about this the other day. With races as vast as some of the ones that visit here, I mean, even what they're doing here, even with the resources they've got here and the ships they've got here and the aliens they've got here, it still must just be a very small percent of what they do on a daily basis. It often fascinates me to think like the Greys could be out everywhere.
They have coffee. They have some whiskey at the end of the day. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't think they have coffee.
What's their day like?
I can see a little.
You don't hear much about chupacabras.
Well, I could see a gray on some black silk coffee. That could be most interesting.
You mentioned Anunnaki. You mentioned Anunnaki. Have you gone down to Peru?
No, I actually haven't. I've been all over the world, but everything got put on a standstill, unfortunately, though. But there's, I meant they do exist, and I'm planning on going and seeing some of these things. I want to go to Switzerland. I want to, build the whole Billy Meyer thing with the Palladians, and there's so much I want to do. But my audiobook is more like a fantasy thing with some truth in it, that the Anunnakis came from Nibiru. Little things here that there are some factual things here. The connection, So I mean, I did the best. I did kind of like a Star Wars back in the day. I used to have a Star Wars radio show. I don't know if you remember it back in the 80s. So I wanted to do something like that. And I know the Anunnakis are very, very popular. And to answer your question, I do plan to go to Peru for other reasons as well. I want to go to Machu Picchu and places like that.
Right.
But I don't think aliens have coffee.
Not any ones I know, anyway. They're not real big coffee drinkers.
Not even soldiers, black silk coffee?
Oh, no. I wish.
No.
I wish I could get the gray on camera drinking some of that black silk. I could retire off that commercial, man. I can see it now. Out of the world. Two grays having sex right after a cup of black silk coffee. Oh, my God. I could retire in that commercial.
No matter what kind of creature you are, everybody has a day, and they do what they got to do. Even animals, mainly it's about survival. But with ET, if they're on that kind of level, a really high level of existence, what do you think their aim is? And they're still physical beings. I mean, there's also a whole other world up there, dimensional world, the whole spiritual transitioning, the energy. So there's a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, but what's ET? What do you do every day?
There's a big argument on what ETs, which ETs are the highest ranked, which ones are doing what, which ones are involved in what. who loves us, who hates us, so on and so forth, like that. And I've always found it interesting, and this just pisses off so many of my fellow researchers. I think that's why I've enjoyed it even more. Because there's always been a certain view on certain types of aliens. And no one ever stopped to think, well, why don't we look back in the past and see who the ancients were worshiping? Were they worshiping human deities, or were they worshiping something else? Come to find out, the majority of them were worshiping reptilians, and in a good way, not in a bad way. It wasn't a hateful, spiteful kind of thing. They were bringers of knowledge, bringers of life, bringers of fertility. The human types were usually portrayed as evil wolf things or birds that would eat your heads off. I found it interesting, but that all changed 1,800 years ago, maybe. It was after the time of Christ. Everybody wants to give the time of Christ a key point, which it probably is, but it took a couple of hundred years after the fact to actually start to change. But still, you can go back and look. Just look at the Egyptian hieroglyphs, on the Sumerian text, any of it, you'll see that the reptilians played a big part, especially in the Americas, the Mesoamericans. They played a big part. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, about 1,800 years ago, that all changed. Why was that? And then why were the grays not even seen on any hieroglyphs until, I don't know, 3,500 years ago? There's not even a mention of them or a glimpse of them before that. But the other aliens, the reptilians and humans, are talked about, well, as long as we've been on the planet. You can find stuff in cave drawings as back as far as 50,000 years, so you got to kind of wonder.
Well, probably longer, man.
Well, I'm sure it's longer.
But longer.
As far as we know, things that we can see. I mean, there's a very interesting drawing in, I think it's not in Utah, and I think it's in Colorado. Not one in Colorado either. It might have been New Mexico. But anyway, there's a cave drawing down there, and this is a herd of buffalo with Indians walking, some walking, some running behind the buffalo and taking some buffalo. But it also shows what looks to be 3 discs hovering over the front part of the buffalo, like slowing them down so the Indians could catch up with them. It was very strange. I have no idea what it meant. It was just 3 white discs. And I don't think anybody would have paid any attention to it because it only dates back 10,000 years, something like that. It might have been a little bit longer. It was pre-Ice Age, whatever, so maybe 15,000 years. But they found one in Europe in a German cave that dates back about 55,000 years. It's a herd of deer going through a field with I guess would have been cavemen chasing it, with these 3 discs looking like they're heading off the pack of the deer, slowing them down. So it almost looks like that in some points they interfered to help feed and at least help some of the humans. But you don't see this all over the world, and it does look like they picked and choose. Frankly, a lot of the aliens seem to have a big fascination with South Americans, which is kind of strange.
I got a question. I got another question.
They taste better.
I got to tell you something. I just came back from Valley of Fire. Have you ever been there before?
I don't know.
Okay, Valley of Fire is about an hour away. Yeah, it's about an hour from Las Vegas. And there they have the paintings, or what they're called the petroglyphs of the Anasazi Indians. And I went through them. There's this particular area where there's 2,000 of them painted on these rocks. And I'll tell you, there's some weird stuff the way they were painted. They were like, again, those circular discs in the sky. Weird look. They have the normal little stick figure people. Then they have like guys with big heads. Then they have like those kind of longhorn sheep. Same thing, the disc in the sky again. They're telling a story, and it's the same thing that you're mentioning there. So this was happening all over the world,
Yeah, well, no, it definitely happens all over the world. It's one of the things when we first formed ICORS, one of the very first things we did was set up international branches because we knew that this was going in other places, and there was other things I needed information about, like military abductions. I wanted to know if the Americans were doing all of them. Because, we had reports of military abductions in China, in India, in France, in Germany, in Russia. So I was kind of curious. I'm like, well, how in the hell could Americans get into all these places without some kind of ruckus or some kind of trouble? Well, come to find out, a lot of times it wasn't Americans. In some cases, it was dom-toms, which is, they look like French policemen. Sometimes they were from a different part of the British government. It was very weird So what it showed me was early on that there is not really what we would call a black government, and there's not really a government that's so much associated with our government. There's just something else. It seems to be interwoven through. Yeah, it seems to be interwoven through a lot
secret
of
shadow government.
It's not really a government because they don't really have any power. And what I mean, they got power. Don't get me wrong. They got actually a lot of power, but they don't have the power to so much drive or change the direction of the country. But they do have power to make it stronger or weaker. So it's a strange. It's almost like, I guess, because there's so many factions. You know, people talk to me about this all the time, and, and it irritates them when they talk to me about it. But people write to me about the Bilderbergs and about the Masons and about, you know, all 5 or 6 of the main groups out there. And I always write back and tell them the same thing. I said, none of them can take over because they all hate each other. I said, if those groups, if the Masons, the Bilderbergs, the Silvers could all join together, we would be in deep shit because they have all the money and all the military. So we would be in deep shit. But unfortunately for them and good for us, they can't. They just can't do it. They've been trying for 10,000 years, and what happens is like Bilderbergs are going one way, this group's going this way, the Masons are going over here, the Templars are going over there, Skull and Bones going that way, you know, and they can't seem to pull together. and they're getting just as divided as our society is. It's funny to watch. So it keeps them from ever achieving that goal of world domination because none of them can seem to get there. You know, they just can't seem to unite the right groups to do it. China figured they could do it, but then Trump came in and China was like, what the hell is this orange head freak doing to us? And then of course, COVID came on and kicked all of our asses. So it was a really good leveling field, but people got the wrong idea about COVID. It was a great leveling thing, but it kept everybody at the same levels. It didn't give any country any vast jump of superiority over the next. It just brought everybody down a notch. So it's kind of strange. And no, Glenn, why would ET want to come in and cure the virus for us? Maybe they want to watch to see if we can cure the virus. Or maybe
they cause the virus.
Maybe the contactees are naturally immune to it or have a survivability higher rate or something.
It would be nice,
man.
Carol just wrote in, Giovanni. She wants to know, have you had or had experiences that you would like to talk about? Why did you write that like that? That was weird. I'm sorry, Giovanni. Go ahead, man. That was just weird the way she posted that.
What kind of experiences, man? You mean like, drinking or
no,
traveling?
I don't think they mean. I think they mean about the subject matter. Shame on you.
Politics?
Well, yeah. Well, to answer her question, I didn't start to have all these experiences with loads of extraterrestrial UFOs in the sky and all these dreams until I moved to Las Vegas, out of all places.
No,
Vegas became like an awakening. Okay, I'm talking about, dreams of reptilians and this and that, and I tell you though, it doesn't happen as much anymore. But the last one happened in Las Vegas at night, where it would have looked like planes. They came about 10 seconds apart from each other, one by one by one, and then disappeared in the air. So they exist, they're real, and it's like, I guess they chose a certain time. Now, there is a saying that goes that you can summon UFOs. There is a technique to summoning them. And they choose when and who they want to see, and and that's the thing about it. Like, if you have a special connection with them, they'll come and they'll show themselves to you though. And I've had some really trippy stuff, and Vegas is full of UFOs and aliens.
It's full of something, all right. It's
oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Vegas got a lot of shit going on.
The coolest thing about Vegas, for $20, you too can get probed. Well,
I guess
there you go.
Legally. Well, I think they.
Have you ever been to northern Nevada, like Utah, like up there? I was just there like 3 months ago, man. There's a lot of sightings up there, like tons.
Yeah. I was up in. I went to St. George. Up there. I think I was. I was walking around there. I think I was the only Italian guy there. But
it's just weird because there's a lot of Italian people in Nevada. I almost said bad.
Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, yeah. We found it. We found it, the place. But yeah. It's Vegas is it's a strange town, man. There is. I mean, I was up in El Dorado Canyon once, though, and I saw another UFO. It looked like a round ball in the sky, and when we started getting close to it, though, it shot up in the sky and vanished. So, and you know, now what is it? With the White House or what, the Pentagon, whatever it was, they're saying now. Now they're saying, oh, we do acknowledge the fact that there are extraterrestrials.
Yeah,
because
we had a president that made them. That's the only reason. But and you heard what Trump told them, right? Trump told them they had to disclose all this information within a week. They're trying to hold out till Biden gets in so they don't have to. But he ain't letting go for some reason. He's on this. He wants to know about these aliens, and they don't usually tell a one-term president, so that's probably why he's pushing it. It's usually something you find out.
They should come and take them away.
And usually they don't tell Democratic presidents for some reason. Nobody can figure that out.
They should come take him and put him in the zoo. There's got to be an alien zoo, no?
Alien something.
Well, what do you say? You want to do a Zoom meeting with aliens? What?
Put Trump in an alien zoo.
I don't think they need to use Zoom.
They can come take them away, man. They're ready.
They might use something a little more sophisticated, but still, you know.
Yeah, they gotta have a zoo. Come on, what do you think? What do you think a chupacabra is? A chupacabra is like their pet. That's like a dog to them, man. You know what I mean? That thing ain't from around here. Chupacabra is good.
I mean, it's probably left over from some past extinction. That's another thing we don't know. I was talking to this with a good friend of mine. He teaches evolution, actually. Him and I fight about this shit all the time. And I'm like, well, dude, you don't know what was here for the last 5 great extinctions. You don't even know. There could have been intelligent creatures. There could have been intelligent people like us that died out, whatever, killed everything else. That's a bit
We're intelligent?
Well, we're intelligent in some things on the planet. We might not be the most intelligent.
Smarter than your average monkey, maybe.
Denise, no, I don't know if we're the most intelligent. We assume, how's this? We assume we're the most intelligent creature on the planet. Is that true? I don't know. There does seem to be some creatures that may be more intelligent than we are. So we'll have to just wait and see how all that plays out in the future.
What is that famous painting?
Cats are definitely smarter than people.
Wait, what was that, Giovanni?
What's that famous painting with the UFO in the background from like the
1500s? I know what you're talking. There's a couple of them, but I know which ones you're talking about.
Okay. Now,
there's a bunch of them.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, but there are UFOs that they were drawing. What supposedly the artist saw that when he was painting. They've had their technology. We're not even at their technology from thousands of years ago. Well, we're not going to be. I'm assuming that.
Well, no, it's a good point, because I use the Foo Fighters to beat people up all the time, especially people in the field. People all the time, yeah, UFOs, we could be faking them. I said, okay, dude. I said, you ever heard of Foo Fighters? I said, every Air Force there was during World War II reported Foo Fighters. The Germans thought they were the Brits. The Brits thought they were the Germans, or the French, or the Italian, or the Americans, or the Japanese. No one knew who they belonged to, and they were unbelievably fast. They could maneuver. They could do maneuvers that we still, even today in 2021 with drones, we still can't repeat these maneuvers yet. Now, in all fairness, ladies and gentlemen, we are way the hell closer than we used to be. With drone technology, we can do high speed drones now that spin and shit. So we're not to the Foo Fighter technology yet. We're a lot closer. We haven't cheesed those speeds because these planes were cruising at 300-400 miles an hour. These things were blowing by them, probably Mach 20, Mach 25. We're nowhere near those kind of speeds. The only way we achieve those speeds is re-entry, when the space shuttle comes in and stuff like that, or when DARPA's plane comes in. DARPA's plane in free flight has done Mach 12 or Mach 13, which is pretty damn fast. And free fall flight, like the shuttle, about anywhere from Mach 25 to Mach 32. That's 32 times the speed of sound, ladies and gentlemen. That is hauling ass. And that's nowhere near fast enough to get in space. But it's hauling ass inside the atmosphere. I mean, you can do loops around the planet pretty fast at those speeds. And but as far as aliens go, that's probably just putt-putt speeds.
Now, Michael, you live in New York, right?
Yep.
Now, are you whereabouts in New York are you?
Upstate New York.
Okay, so from the I used to watch a show called the UFO Hunters or something like that, and they say that Hudson County's got a tremendous amount of UFO activity. Oh, yeah. They even have a vortex there. Is that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, upstate New York is a hotbed for UFO activity, man.
Wow. You got all that open land over there, yeah.
Mm.
And
I've seen though.
Well, I mean, but the fact of the matter is, they found caves with Druid weapons in there. Now, and this is way before.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in New York, man. A lot of Jewish stuff there. Is it Jewish or Druid?
Just smacking, man.
Druid, not Jewish.
No. I think it's Jewish. Like a bagel.
No, Druid.
We talk about bagel last night.
No. Hey, I saw a flying bagel in the sky. No, they found like that. Yeah, exactly. No, they say that this country was discovered first time by Christopher Columbus, and that they whatever. Okay, but then you're finding relics from the Druids, thousands of years or 100, whatever you want to call it, way before. Supposedly Columbus was the first. So there's a lot of inaccuracies with history.
Yeah.
And we
even
Vikings. We can even go.
They found evidence of Vikings, man.
Exactly,
yeah.
And
they went all over the place.
We can even talk about the Bible and about Egypt, and that the Bible has one thing, they're telling one thing, and then the Egyptians are saying another about the actual events of all this stuff. So there's so much inaccuracy with these things, you know what I'm saying? But
they got it all wrong. I'll tell you this, and I believe this. When the pyramids were built, it wasn't desert. It was all green and plush. It was like the Amazon, like a green plush forest. Yeah. And when it was a whole different world, whole different type of condition. What there is now is that because there was a shift, there was a geological shift on this planet, you know. So and you see what the result was.
Absolutely, no. But I really think that there's a lot of things they say that aren't accurate. You know, that's the thing about it. But like I said,
because you make it up. If you ask a scientist, if you say anything paranormal to a scientist, they're not going to guess any kind of paranormal answer. They're going to guess some kind of scientific answer, which really paranormal is science. Anybody who knows what if you're talking about, you know, talking about ET, talking about ghosts, doesn't really matter because it all relies on the same science of quantum physics and physics. You know what I mean? And I can explain anything with science. But these scientists, they don't think outside the box. And to them, it's like, you know, when you mention anything paranormal to them, they act like, you know, someone farted in the room. They make a dumb face, you know, like it's not for real. But yet, it's not something they're willing to confront with their minds. You know, I mean, not all of them. There are physicists who definitely believe in, you know, different stuff. But you know, at least you're in the forefront. You're a researcher. You're out there. You know, and you have a quest that you're on, right? A personal quest. You know, a lot of these other guys don't. You know. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know, paranormal. You know, I did another audiobook that you can download on iTunes called The Ghost of David Johnson, and I'll tell you, man, ghosts exist. They do. I mean, there's no question of it. You know, I mean, there's no question. People say, well, I don't believe in ghosts and I don't believe in UFOs. Well, then, you know, and it's ridiculous to believe that they don't exist. UFOs exist. Aliens exist. Ghosts exist. You know, the world is not just about, you know, going to Walmart and watching TV. There's real stuff going up there. It's like, did you ever see a movie called Paul?
Paul, no.
No, Paul was a movie with Nick Pope. No, it was with Nick Frost and Simon Pegg about a foul-mouthed alien. They find in Area 51, a hitchhiker, and they were in the bar at Area 51, little alien in, and they were talking about something, and the woman said, you know, the guy said there was like billions of galaxies out there, and then the girl says, where is everybody? They're out there. There's aliens among us. We don't even know. Your neighbor could be an alien.
Oh yeah. I think they are. Well, they think I am. One of those.
Oh man, I got to tell you something about Area 51. There's a secret to Area 51. Now, I probably shouldn't say this in the radio, but I'm going to, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully, there's not a lot of people listening.
Joe, don't do it. Don't.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna tell y'all something.
Area
listen,
52.
Area 52. We have to talk about Area 52.
Hey, I went there. I went there, by the way, Area 52. It's out in Hoover Dam.
There is Area 52.
Where you want to go is Area 53. That's where Charles Halls was stationed in the Tall Whites. But anyway, getting back to
Area 54 and a half.
Listen, so if you're in Area 51, okay, and you want to do something stupid like go over the fence, I'm going to tell y'all a little secret, okay? You can jump over the fence and you can run like hell. And they're going to catch you, don't get me wrong. But as long as you don't breach the secondary base fence, which is a good ways down, a couple of miles, as long as you don't breach that, I'm going to tell you exactly what happens. And I found this out firsthand information. So they will take you, the guards will take you to the gate, and the local sheriff comes and picks you up and brings you to the local sheriff's jail. And at that time, it was $667 to get out of jail. Somebody told me it's up to $7 something now. And the way I found this out is that I was at Little Alien Inn having lunch, talking with the owner of Little Alien Inn and her daughter, which are both very nice people. And the sheriff came in. And, I'm media, so I'm nosy. And I'm a ufologist, which makes me even more nosy. So I get up, I start asking him all kind of questions. I got my phone running too, by the way, pissed everybody off. But we're talking, and he says, no, that's not how it works. He said, because I found out, the reason I asked him this question is because they bring Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner to the gate every year and set it down for the guards to come get it. For everybody who works the guard gates, people from Little Alien Inn do this. And I was like, wow. And one year they gave him shit about it, and I was asking him what happened. He said, no. He said, they just arrest him, and I come get him, and then they give me the money, and then we release him, and that's it. So as long as they don't go any further than that, he said, now, if you breach the second gate, it's not in my jurisdiction anymore. It's strictly military. So then you go to the base, somewhere on the base. So they lock you down, and then it just depends what you did, where you're going after that point. Because the guy who flew there and landed, he got 2 years, but they didn't do him any harm. Maybe they gave him some drugs or something. I don't know, but it was a very strange, very surreal conversation, though. And when we got to the first gate, I still remember this. We get out the first gate, and I was with Nathan, who does a Utah UFO festival, and he's walking around, jumping, screaming at the camera, screaming at the guy. I said, what do you think they're going to do? Come in here and beat the crap out of you? I said, because if they do, I'm going to laugh my ass off. And he's like, why? I said, because if I was in there in the military, I'd come in here and beat the crap out of you just for GP, man. He's like, no, I'm telling you, dude, I would. I said, stop it. And then I said, then he's going, I'm going to grab the fence. I said, well, while you grab the fence, I'm going to sit on it. I said, wait, let me get my good camera out of the car when you grab the fence. I said, I want to get this on video. I said, I want to see what happens. He's like, well, what do you mean? He said, the fence ain't electrified. I said, I don't know if it's electrified or not. I said, but you see them guys staring at you with them 3 cameras? I said, they coming for your ass, and I want to have it on videotape. Oh, man. It's fun, though. I mean, it can be a little unnerving. I'm sure you understand that, Giovanni. When you're standing there up against the fence or up against the gate, it can be a little unnerving because you're in a position where, 30 miles, maybe 30, 40 minutes at high speed back to the main road, which is still like an hour and a half from anywhere.
I'll tell you a story here real quick. Recently they about a year ago, they took away the black box, the black mailbox. Yeah, because people were stealing Steve Medlin's mail. And there's always a car in that desert next to the mailbox. I don't know what's going on over there. But we decided when I was making this other project called 51 the movie, we said we're going to drive our RV through to try to go to the gates. And that's very rough terrain. The panels were falling off inside the RV. There's cows everywhere. They're looking at me, and I'm looking at them, and like want to know what are we doing.
And they get pissed if you hit one of their cows, buddy. They will make you pay for them cows.
They haven't. It's all that whole area is nothing but open range. But just before you get to Extraterrestrial Highway, they have an alien beef jerky place, and there was an old guy in there, and he was telling me that there is some major stuff going on in that area, and that's why people flock there by the thousands or millions. And that that big room, what is it called, the Area 51 Research Center, which is just a big gift shop with a big tin alien. Yeah. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of people that are written on the wall saying, I believe. There's celebrities like Keanu Reeves and the Kardashians. It is a place that is not only nostalgic, but there's something going out. And they say every Wednesday night on Extraterrestrial Highway, there's UFO activity.
Well, there's a lot of weird shit goes on. I'm not going to lie. I mean, so we went to a lot of places. I was real fortunate the 3 times I've been out to Area 51, I'll tell you what. Each time I was with a local. One time I was with a local out of Las Vegas. One time I was with a local out of Utah. And another time I was with the local out of Phoenix. But the thing about it is not out of Phoenix, out of, what's New Ageville over there? Not Scottsdale. What the hell's it called, people? What's
what?
Sedona. So anyway.
Oh,
So anyway, yeah. So anyway,
Sedona,
I've been real fortunate that they've all grew up there in the desert. Nathan was great. Nathan knew all the deserts all around Area 51. He knew all the deserts in Nevada. He knew all the deserts in Phoenix and New Mexico. I mean, in Arizona and New Mexico. He was a great tour guide. He knew where all the haunted cities was. He took me. I had a great time touring with Nathan, and he really, like I said, he really, really knew the area. So a couple of times, so we're cruising back from Area 51 the second time, right? And we hit this highway. Now I forgot where we were. Something Springs, somewhere Utah. I'd have to go look to see. But anyway, we're cruising back that way. And it's a good hour and a half, hour, 45 minutes from where we are. So we stop. It's pitch black everywhere. I mean, it's black. You can't see it. And technically, this is the cutoff to extraterrestrial highway. So it's just pitch black in every direction. So first thing, you get out your car, you're sitting there. You don't see nothing coming in any direction. Then you hear the coyotes, they yip yapping, walking around. You can hear them walking in the weeds, yipping at you and shit. And then you'll notice off, I think it's to the south from where we were, actually southwest from where we were, this weird glowing orangish whitish light. And then you see all these little white dots above it. That's Las Vegas and the planes coming into Vegas. You can watch the planes from out there from 30 different flight paths from that location. And it's really cool because if you've got J-Track with you, if anything else pops up, if you got it on your phone or on your computer or something, you can check and see what kind of weirdness is up. And they have had what they call race strip UFOs out there where they'll come up alongside a car and just zip by them at high speed or zip back by them or stop and wait for them. So I don't know exactly what that's about. That makes me a lot of times think that's some shit that Area 51's testing. I don't really think that's ET. I mean, it's possible ET could be acting like that, but more like that sounds more like a test pilot to me than an ET.
But you know something though, you know when you talk about when you're on the extraterrestrial highway, which is I think Highway 373. I remember coming back. I came back from the Little Alien Inn, and I said I'm going to park my car and I'm going to video what I can. I only have a cell phone. When I got out of my car, I have never seen stars so bright. It looked like 3D.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh yeah, it is.
Oh my God! And then I'm telling you, there's freaky stuff that goes on. You start seeing orange lights out of nowhere.
Well, you know what's really weird is I love these. Okay, this is great, people. So we leave Utah where we're at. Speed limit's 80, by the way, on these roads. 80. This isn't no interstate either. This is a road. So it's 80, and all you see is cattle crossing. There's this cattle sign everywhere. Then all of a sudden, you don't see any more fences, and you see these cattle. So in both Utah and Nevada, people, if you hit one of their bulls or cows and kill it, they're not responsible for your car. You're responsible for their $6,000 cow. You just bought it, plus the damage to your car. And they're strict about this out there, man. They're crazy, but and it's weird because everybody's doing 100. And know if one of these come walking out, you're just done effed up, man. Can you see hitting a Burma bull at 100 miles an hour? Jesus, there's gonna be bull and car flying everywhere. And we were just as guilty and you got to remember too something, ladies and gentlemen, be sure wherever you go in any of these areas you hear us talking about that your car is on full before you leave. And if you see a gas station anywhere along the lane, stop and top your tank off because there are very few. I think the next closest one to Alien Inn is an hour and 15 minutes away. So you better have at least a half a tank for most cars.
Sounds like where we live in Northern Ontario.
Because y'all live in some fake country. Oh man, so I'm gonna say this for another show, but so I got you some pictures of your Chinese guys.
Oh, so now you finally believe us?
I got you some pictures. No, I got you some legit pictures. But we'll talk about that we can't talk about that tonight because it's a guest show tonight. But we'll talk about it another night. And I got you some good witnesses. Some really good witnesses that are government related. So it'll maybe we'll have to just do a show on that. But anyway, getting back to what we were talking about. Do you remember which gate you went to? You went to the one closest to Alien Inn. It's like a big long white road that goes down.
Yeah, that's the one. But we were we were filming our movie, and this was an older RV, and all the panels were falling off. Like, oh my God, we're going to ruin our car. I mean, that's rough terrain out there.
Well,
and
you know what's
yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, and then in the far distance, you start to see these little Jeeps up on the hill, camo dudes.
Oh, it's weird out there, man. It's weird. You know, it's funny because the very first time I went, the road was like had been washed out. I mean, it was just unbelievably, ridiculously rough. Yeah. And I was in a car. I was like, "This is bullshit." I said, because it's tearing the car up. So next time we went, I rented a big Expedition, one of those Ford Expedition, beautiful vehicle, man. So I'm thinking I'll be able to do 100 of these. But we get out there, this road is smooth as a baby's ass. Yes. It has been manicured out. You could tell the white. And you know what's funny about this, ladies and gentlemen, and this tells you how sneaky they are. So when you turn left off the main highway onto this white shell road, and you're cruising on it, it's really smooth right now. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's this beautiful blacktop road. Not a bump on it. This thing is smooth sailing, and you know something big goes on it because it's double wide. Even the shell road is double wide, so they can haul big stuff in and out of there. I don't know where they hauling it to or from, but they're hauling something big out there. It was a very strange.
Well, you know, I was going to tell you something though. When I was driving, you know, I was going to tell you something that when you're driving back and you got that open range, I keep on putting on my brights because they like to lay in the road, the cows.
Oh yeah.
In the road because it's warm warm, and that's the thing about it. But there's a small town near there called Alamo, and I'll tell you, man, everybody's kind of cool down there. They're a little bit weird, but they're kind of cool in a way though. But yeah, like I said, it's like you said, it's pitch black out there. You got to have your brights on because you will, you know, experience, you know, the first time I ever went out there was the Charlie Sheen incident. They have no radio station except AM, and I'm listening to Charlie Sheen ranting about his tiger blood or whatever it was, and I'm driving through and there's cows on the road. It was great.
It was I gotta say it was definitely strange out there, man. Yeah, I know we were going who was it? Somebody goes, oh, it was the second time we went to a conference. A friend of mine goes, let's go down to Vegas and go spend a night down in Vegas and, you know, and just chill out in Vegas. I've been to Vegas several times in my life. I said, well, cool, we'll go down to Vegas and check it out. So we drove down to Vegas. And then on the way to Vegas, we actually made it to Vegas, by the way. So we drove down to Vegas, and Vegas was an hour, about 90 minutes from where we were staying. And weirdly enough, Area 51 was about 90 minutes from where we were staying. And so we drive down. We get about 2/3 of the way down, just right there where the dam is, just before the dam. They got a roadblock right there where they stop and talk to you before they let you go to where the dam is. And so we're talking to cops, and it's like, what are y'all doing? I said, we're just cruising down to Vegas. I said, we're lecturing up in Utah at the UFO Festival. And he's got a bunch of questions he's asking us. Then he starts telling us about this thing down the road behind from where we came from, where they had this weird landing, this weird circle plaque-looking thing. And I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. And he showed me a picture on his phone. I'm like, what? I said, can we go? He said, well, yeah. He said, I'll wait you through when you come back. He said, because I've talked to you on that. I said, well, that's cool. So we turned around because the Nevada State Police tell us about this place. So we go cruising back down there. It looks like something saucer-shaped, maybe 200 yards across, maybe 250 yards across, landed. And it landed solid because the whole base was on the ground. And there was like little rib marks about every 4 feet apart all the way around. And then it seemed to be, I would guess the best thing I could call them would be like blast points, like something got super hot that was touching the ground because there was 8 or 9 of these little circles. That was very strange looking. We got good pictures. I have no idea what it was. People all say, well, it's also landed. And there was sightings the night this happened. So we did verify that. But was it an actual UFO? I have no idea, but I'd have loved to see it. But anyway, we got involved in that, and then we seen some weird red light that we chased for like 2 hours back towards where we were coming from. And then we ended up in some desert about 80 miles south of Area 51, and just on this dirt road in the middle of nowhere. You get out, it literally looked like you were inside the Milky Way. There were so many stars. I mean, it just looked like they were drooping down and touching the ground. And the only other time I ever experienced that, I know we got abducted. So it was very strange, man. It's a great place, Giovanni. It's a good place to do research. A lot of fun. You know, I've been out to Area 53 a couple of times. I've been out to Area 52. I've been out to Skinwalkers twice. No, well, 2.5 times, I guess you could say.
Walker's
Joe,
Ranch.
can I ask you, Joe? Can I ask you a question there? Would you think that besides Area 51, would you think Washington D.C. is a weird zone?
You know what? It is, because one, it's been high UFO activity's been there, and there's even been a time when the UFO decided to do a 50th anniversary appearance, which was strange. I mean, it timed it to the day, almost to the hour, and reappeared. So there does seem to be a lot of activity. But remember, DC was set up by the Masons. It's got a lot of witchcraft involved in it. A lot of things are set up for rituals and all sorts of other shit that probably a lot of them have been forgotten by now. And not all of them, but a lot of them. But it's I imagine there's a lot of weirdness that goes on there. And every time I go there, I always see something strange. But it's so close to Gettysburg and all those deaths that it's hard to push that off. You know? And then you're right there by New York and Baltimore. There's a lot of people around. It's a weird feeling place. Don't get me wrong, I like DC. If I could make a good living in DC, because for the station it would be more beneficial for me to live there. But there's something just not right about the place, and it's got a lot of crime. It's got
and the thing is, so is that Washington D.C., the District of Columbia, is actually not a part of the USA, and a lot of people aren't aware of that. It's not a state.
Yeah. They want to make it a state. The Democrats have been trying to make it a state for a long time, because it would just be two more seats in the Senate for them. But no. Nobody wants it to be a state. It has to be impartial. That's why it's like that. It's nestled in between Virginia and Baltimore and I forgot the other place, but it's all nestled in there. So Giovanni, have you been over to Europe and looking at the crazies over there to see what kind of weird UFOs or aliens they're into over there?
Well, I've been to London, and I've been to Italy and Switzerland and stuff like that.
Switzerland. Oh, that's what I want.
Yeah. I was it was a place called Lugano, which is right next to Milan, Italy. So everybody speaks Swiss and Italian. And so, but it's funny. I used to live in Sri Lanka. I lived there for, a long time. And now there was a famous writer that lived there, Arthur C. Clarke. And Arthur C. Clarke wrote the movie. What was the movie he wrote? Space Odyssey, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Yes,
and there's a place called Adams Peak, and Adams Peak is a place where there's a lot of UFO activity, and there were little aliens running around at night, and the villagers were trying to run after them and stuff. So, there are hot spots in so many places. There are hot spots in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. When I was in Sedona, I saw UFOs the same night I got there. So. But I never saw anything, so to speak, in Europe, but abroad I have, yeah.
It's funny. I got some friends that live in Sedona that they do night tours. They take you out with the 3D goggles so you can go out and see the UFOs flying over and stuff. I wonder if Melinda Leslie still does. I need to give her a call. I haven't talked to her in a while. I have to give her a call. But it's kind of strange. Jackson, what's that? You been to Area 51? Yeah, I would recommend anybody to go there just for the experience. And matter of fact, if you're coming from the east, you can go through White Sands testing area, and then stop off in Carlsbad at the Crystal Caverns. Check out the Four Corners. It's all touristy stuff you can see on the way to Area 51. It just depends where you're coming from, but for me, it's always like a grand tour because I get to either take Interstate 10. Which has got a lot of desert, it's also got a lot of beautiful country, or Interstate 25, which also has a lot of beautiful country. I get to go through the Continental Divide up there and a couple other places. It's just really, and there's places up there. We were in I rented a Nissan Armada, and we were up there 3 o'clock in the morning cruising through the desert, in the high desert. And it really does. It feels like you're driving through the stars because there's so many of them, and they're everywhere. And there's nobody out there but you. That's what's so great about it. I'm on interstate. I have no idea how fast I'm going. I'm not going to say.
Well, Joe, there was a lot of talk that 2020 was supposed to be the year of disclosure, and then I think that was might have been a thing there because the election was going on that it got bypassed. Is 2021 going to be the year of
not if Joe Biden's president is not going to be. Yeah, if Joe Biden's president, he's not. Trump was trying to disclose. He even tried to force this issue just the other day. He told the Pentagon they had until I think it was the 10th or the 12th to disclose everything they had on UFOs. Whether they're going to do it or not, I have no idea because he's not staying in office. He's leaving it. And Biden hasn't been briefed on any of that. And he may never be briefed on that because Obama wasn't. They don't always brief. They don't brief every president. They never brief a one-term president, but they don't generally brief. We know Reagan knew. We knew both Bushes knew, but the only reason Baby Bush knew is probably because of Daddy Bush. Daddy Bush is probably the one who told Reagan, because he was head of the CIA, then he was vice president for 8 years, and he was president for 4 years. He had a lot of connections, so he knew, and I'm pretty sure Reagan definitely knew. Reagan was the only president besides Trump, which is weird, that decided we needed a presence in space. He said, I want laser platforms up there. He said, I want launching platforms for Earth. He's the one that developed Pine Gap. He's the one that developed, he did Pine Gap. He did the Hart facility, and there was one other one. All of these are designed for the defense of outer space. That doesn't mean, that's not right around our planet, people. Outer space means outer space. Coming into our solar system.
Reagan said the aliens were a threat.
He believed that. No, he seriously believed that.
He stopped people in their tracks when he said that. At that, he told these reporters that he stopped them dead in their tracks. They're like, "What?"
See, that's a really interesting thing there. So you have there says, so was Trump going to disclose stuff, and that's why they're trying to get him out of office, or even after today, I know you guys talked about this. About what happened there with the House, Senate, their stuff, because that was crazy, the news footage and how they depicted it. But do you think that maybe him saying that he was going to go and, hey, I'm going to give you all the secrets, says this is another way to get him out faster?
Well, he can still put it out. I mean, he's still president until for 14 more days. So, I mean, if he wants to get it out there, he can. I mean, if they defy a direct order from the commander in chief, he can put him in prison. If he tells a general to put it out today, the general has to put it out. If he don't, he's going to jail. They'll have him arrested and tossed in jail.
He's fired, right? That's the
no. They put him in jail. Oh no, they put him in jail. He goes to jail for that. He can get fired for that. He goes to jail. You're in military, and if you refuse an order from your military commander, you go to prison for that.
Okay, my prediction with all of this, and by the way, hello, Glovanni, I'm Lorley. I'm one of the hosts here on UPRN. We came in a little late. My prediction is that if he's got 14 days left, I think he's got nothing to lose. He's just gonna put it all out there. And if by some miracle, somehow way for the next 4 years, he's got 4 years to drip it out. But I say he's dropping the bomb in the next 14 days.
Nah, man, he's out of his mind. I wouldn't trust him with that nuclear football. I wouldn't trust him with anything at this point.
Here we go.
Anyway, we ain't talking about Trump.
Everybody teased today. That's why I mentioned that's what I was talking about, dropping the bomb about it all. Whatever he knows about ETs and other stuff, that's what I meant.
Hopefully he will disclose when he leaves.
Oh, by the way, I was going to mention, you were talking about Pine Gap, and Pine Gap is the premise of my Anunnaki audiobook that's coming out on the 12th. And not a lot of people know about Pine Gap. They don't.
They don't.
They only know about Area 51. They know about Dugway, and possibly about Area 52. And it's funny, I heard about Area 52 from a New Zealand guy who lives in Vegas, and he believes that there is something down there 4 miles down in the Hoover Dam.
Oh, geez, see that this is a great thing there that you brought up, because I've had this discussion and talk about this about military and private sector funded by taxpayer money building cities and areas and roadways underneath like below, and there's been actually a lot of people talk about these things. And the question is, it says we're talking about Area 51 and Area 52, 3, 4, 5, but where was Area 1?
Well, that's not how they label them. But no, it's not. That's not how they label them. It's different. It's labeled by those numbers because of the state it's in. How
about Area 0? I want
Area 51 is just a target part of the map that it's on. That's why it's called Area 51. It just took its name from the area that when Arizona split its sections up, that's what it was, Area 51.
I'd love to hear more about time gaps.
Yeah, well, we're talking about Pine Gap. Pine Gap is the Joint British Defense of Outer Space. It's in Queensland, Australia, and in 2000, and thanks to us, we busted them. In 2000, they said they went out of business. That Pine Gap was no longer in existence and had been shut down. And a couple of our directors were just doing some research and stumbled across in 2002, 2003, and 2004 bill of ladings for stuff going to Pine Gap. So
no, but what I was asking, because Giovanni had mentioned it's up, or are you just sort of just mentioning it, Giovanni, with your book coming out, or did you cover some of this stuff? Like, I'm really interested in what your new book has to say.
What I was telling earlier was that it's loosely based off of facts, but I didn't want to. It's an audiobook, but it's epic. It's like Star Wars. Like, and I was telling him in the old days, in the 80s, they used to have like an audio radio station with Star Wars where you'd have music and sound effects, and that's what I decided to do with Anunnaki. And I didn't want to go with Area 51. I want to do something where it's not so common. So I thought about Pine Gap, and that's out in Alice Springs in Australia. And I just thought it would be a great subject matter. However, I didn't get too much into stuff about Pine Gap. I did mention the military facility, whatever, but it was more about the adventure and about this one space traveler who crashes in Pine Gap. And there was actually a story about that there was an actual Anunnaki that was caught wandering around in the deserts of Australia, and that she was captured. They took pictures of her and everything, and that was the inspiration of my audiobook. Yeah.
Cool. And you know, I know quite a bit about UFOs, and I have to be honest, I actually, and I'm embarrassed to say, I thought you had said time gap. This is the first time I'm hearing about this, so thank you. And I'm sorry if you're repeating yourself. We're a little bit late joining.
Yeah. It's fast. You know, the Anunnakis have. Now the thing about it was that they were here and then they left. And so now on the poster, the new poster that's coming up, it says they know she's coming because they left, and now they had told people that they were going to come back, and this is just one Anunnaki. Yeah.
But did they actually leave, or did they get evicted? Might be a better question.
They might have got evicted because they didn't pay their rent.
Well, I have a question for you because my moderator for one of my groups on Facebook, she lives in Sardinia, and Del, who's my partner, he's not on camera. We've watched a few documentaries, especially over in Sardinia. A lot of it pretty well looks like giants, or they were classifying it as Anunnaki. So that's why I've always been very interested. What happened to them? Like you said, did they not pay the rent, or what's your theories on this, you guys?
Well, what happened was they were here. They were here thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago. They took what they wanted. They interbred with humans. Yep. And then they left. I guess whatever they left. And who's the famous guy? The guy that was his name?
David Icke.
No, not him. I like that guy. He's cool. What's his name? The guy with the big tablet. What's his name? The guy that believes in Anunnaki. Citron.
Well, the thing is, though, is that I want to ask this because this is your story there that you did there with your book and stuff like that. Did you is that a similar story to Valiant Thor that was supposed to come and talk to Congress, USA Congress, and there was actually a movie later on that was actually made similar about the War of the Worlds.
Well, what it was they were supposed to make a movie about the Anunnaki, and for some reason it never happened. Now I'll tell you a funny story. I was actually going to meet an artist in Las Vegas, and I had the script in my hand. This was like in 2011. And then that same day, as I'm holding the script in my hand, I'm having a conversation with Nicolas Cage. Okay. So he's an alien too, I think, by the way.
That's a whole different show, right?
That's it. He's in a world of his own. Yeah. But no, I mean, there was no. I didn't read something the only inspiration was a little clip of that Anunnaki in the desert which made my mind go wild. And there was nothing else, no other research, no other stories, whatever. And I couldn't have hit it at a better time, because there's something people are fascinated with the Anunnakis, the Palladians, and the Ashtar commands.
Absolutely.
And what a better time than to do it now. And I didn't want to release the audiobook in shitty 2020. That was real shit. I wanted to do it in 2021. I mean, it was really just a horrible year. I mean, it was a good year of development and cleansing, but yeah, it was just that one little that you can see on YouTube, and that was it. That was the biggest inspiration.
And this is the whole thing that I find I really want to go and look into this stuff there, and I'm just relating it back to a story of Valiant Thor that actually came and talked to Congress, and I think that's really amazing.
He's supposed to be a Venusian, not an Anunnaki.
Yeah, but more importantly, what's the odds of a race developing just like ours? Almost astronomical beyond belief.
I believe
it could probably be it'd be just a stone's throw from reality. If that's what a lot of
now, if we were made from a race like Sumerians say, that's different.
A lot of hosts on our show on this network, they talk about dimensional portals and dimensional beings, and we can get into talking about Bigfoot, and we can get into talking about aliens and stuff like that are out there. And you say, and now if Joe, you're saying that's less than zero, what are we all talking about then?
What's less than zero? You lost me somewhere in this conversation.
Maybe
I'm sorry. What about aliens?
Yeah,
aliens. Look, they got very few aliens that visit this planet. They're limited to how many aliens can be at any one time. They're limited to how many races can be here. Because if not, there would be chaos. Could you imagine 60 different types of aliens coming and going all the time? Somebody would get caught. Somebody like myself or somebody else would get lucky. And since that's never happened, they limit it. And they only let the really advanced races come in that don't have a chance of us catching them because their technology is too far above it. There's just nothing we can do to stop them. So they let them come. They're not going to let races like the black-eyed kids and children, the ones aboard the big ships, their technology is the same as ours or along the same lines as ours. So anytime they're here with a gray or a human or a reptilian or something. That way if something happens, they can be retrieved. They're not going to let them float around by themselves, though, because if they get caught, they're going to get dissected.
I just want to clarify. You said that aliens are real and they visit here then, right?
Aliens been visiting this planet. We're at least 2/3 alien DNA.
Okay, just wanted, because it was just sounding a little bit weird that you're saying that aliens would never present themselves to the rest of humanity, and maybe that's
there's no need to. You got to look at it from the aliens' point of view. Why would they tell everyday Joe, anybody on this planet, that they're here? Why? And there's no benefit to them. What's the benefit to the alien? It's the same thing with the government. What's the benefit of the government for them to tell us aliens are here? What does the government get out of this? They don't get jack shit. They get sued for allowing abductions and people to be taken, and all kind of other stuff that goes on, tribunals and courts. So there's no beneficiary reasons for the majority of the planet to know aliens exist. It's not going to help the aliens. It's not going to help the government. So why is anybody going to bother telling us? And the people who do know are the people who are being taken, because that's the only people the aliens care to tell.
Right, and this is the part. This is why this is such great things and topics that we talk about on UPRN about the government doesn't tell the public the truth.
The government never told the public the truth. Giovanni, you think the government tells us the truth, man?
No, they give us. If they're going to give us anything, it's going to be watered down news.
Absolutely.
They don't love us, man. They don't show us the love. They're fixing to invade Canada. I feel for Canada, guys.
I'll give you an example, right? You ever watch a show where they're talking about that the government does this, they hide this? You know, if the government never responds, they don't say anything, because what they do not say does not exist. You know what I'm saying? So if they keep their mouth shut, and if they keep their mouth shut, then they're free to whatever. So, but we know what's going on. So, but listen, we're not alone. Extraterrestrials do exist. It's kind of hard to believe it, but when you see it, when you see things flying in the sky, and you can't identify that, though, it's no longer a fantasy. It's reality.
Well, I'll tell you this. I have a missing time period that I ended up, I blinked my eyes, and it was at least 45 minutes or so. I knew the area, and I ended up 40 miles away. And I know this area. I used to be a traveling nurse, and I was on a road I've never seen before. My car in the opposite direction. Dell, who's on here with me, was calling me and asked me where I was. I was supposed to be gone to the store for 3 minutes, and I still have no idea how I didn't even know where I was. I didn't even know if my phone would work.
I already know what happened to you. I already know what happened to you.
Do you? Tell me.
I already know what happened. You were basically abducted, and you had no sense of time or place. It's the whole thing about. Remember the story? Do you remember the story about Travis Walton?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so how he went, he was abducted, and he just woke up, and it seemed like nothing happened.
I did this. Like if you're watching the camera, I did this. I blinked, and all that time was gone. I agree with you. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but go ahead, please. I'd love to hear more.
Yeah. You were definitely abducted, and that you have no sense of time. Now the question: have you ever had any visitations at all? Anybody ever felt that was in your house? Do you think that you might have some implants in you?
Now you're going to get her into the whole thing about ghosts and spirits and stuff like that.
We shared our experience. I'm writing 3 books actually, but I'm a psychic medium. I'm also a nurse. We just moved out of a very haunted house. We were on Paranormal Survivor, season 4, episode 9. We shared just a tiny fraction of our story on demonic hauntings. It's quite the story.
Wow.
So yes, and my mother has Rh negative blood, green eyes, and red hair, which I know Joe's doing 30 years.
These were probably related.
Yeah.
I might be your distant grandpa. You better watch out, girl. I got my eye on you. That's it. I got my eye on you.
Trust me when I finally get down to New Orleans.
Okay, and Joe, after looking at the makeup that Laura's wearing there, you wonder why that I'm locked in a cage?
You just keep getting yourself in trouble.
The
what can I
Joker.
So, Giovanni, I got a couple of questions for you before we get into the audience questions. But
sure.
You know, for a lot of people, Mike, what'd you say, baby? You broke up. Mike?
What?
That's weird. Okay, I don't know what some weird shit was going on there. I'm not sure what was going on.
I heard some demons on the line.
We're getting feedback from somebody's got with their mics feeding us back. I just don't know who it is. I can't see it. Anyway, now maybe
there's a demon out there, man. It's awesome.
Yeah,
it's a Beagle Bob. Touch you, bud.
I don't know what that is. I might have to make all y'all some mics or something. Huh?
Now that they're listening to us, man, they're monitoring.
Maybe.
They're monitoring what we're talking about.
You know what it is.
Yes, it's aliens and demons. And as everybody
but anyway, getting back to
aliens and demons, the same thing.
No. But that's a whole other show. Next time we do paranormal talk, we'll bring that up though. That's actually a good topic for that particular show. But anyway, getting back to what I was saying, a lot of people, when you ask them what they think the Anunnaki is, some people tell you they're human-looking aliens. Some people tell you that these tall, weird, white aliens. Some people tell you they're tall, gray aliens. Some people tell you that they're reptilians. So I've always been a little bit confused about this because when I go back to the Sumerians think they're humans that started to create a race of reptilians they're bred with. Because they get into that quite a bit. The Sumerians have a great deal that they talk about the Anunnaki in great detail, and they talk about the Numos in great detail, which is both the human and reptilian race that was supposedly here at the same time, or roughly around the same time. And we all have a reptilian section there, but the story goes that a race of human-like aliens approached this planet, settled this planet, built 2 great white dome cities, decided to create a race that could go live on the planet besides themselves because they weren't actually our atmosphere wasn't exactly conducive to them, and they weren't going to terraform the planet. So they created a species, and the Sumerians go into a great deal of detail about this. The Sumerians says this species decided to create. They didn't call them a slave race; they just called them a worker race. That were us, but we weren't as sentient as we are today. The Sumerians go into great detail about the reptilian aliens used to come steal them. And by the way, they mentioned them as aliens. We come steal them, rape the women. The children were born were different. They were like They want to know why they had to be plowed fields.
I have 5 different other theories and things that go on with this whole thing that you're saying there, and this is one that's new that I've never heard there, Joe,
What?
and this is surprising, and I've never heard your theory on this.
No, actually, we're not talking about my theory. My theory is a little bit different, but this has to do with what the Sumerian text is talking about when David Icke. See, Icke and I had a disagreement a long time ago. He always thought that the reptilians were doing particular things here, and he thought Narebu used to come park its ass next to our planet. Well, no planet 5 times the size of Earth can park next to us because it would kill us. It would crush us. It would destroy us. There'd be nothing left. It couldn't even pass near us in the solar system. It would destroy life on Earth. So you could kind of rule out that Emos wasn't what they thought it was. Plus, since there was no mass movement in the Oort cloud or the asteroid belt in any recent times, you could also rule out that there had been any big body passing through in the last 200,000 or 300,000 years. So it kind of took Ike's theory and pushed it away. And all the Sumerians said was that the Nemos race used to come and steal their people, and these children were different. They were just sentient. They would ask why they had to plow the field. They started the revolution.
Okay, so Joe, how do you explain our moon that is tidally locked to this planet that does not spin, but it stays in the same position?
But it does.
There's been a lot of
it's moving away from the Earth 2.5 inches a year. Do you know in less than 100,000 years it will virtually have no effect on this planet anymore?
Yeah, no, but there's a lot of alien talk that is actually an alien observatory.
I do wonder if it's hollow in some places, but I don't know if it's an alien observatory. I mean, right now, do you know how many probes we got on the moon right now? We've got like
0.
No, what are you talking about? We've got like 9 surveyors up there rolling all over the place. I mean, not rolling, flying around. China's got one. We've got 2. Russia's got one. Italy's got one. Freaking India's got one. It's almost getting crowded up there. So if there's any aliens on the surface of the moon, we know they're there. We can see them. Whether we want to talk about it and why the rest of the governments are being quiet, that would be something you'd have to ask them. But it also makes you wonder if there are any aliens on the surface of the moon anymore. They could be underground, or they could have left. Now that man's getting deeper into space, they might have moved further away from the planet, more out towards Jupiter, Saturn, places like that, or nearer the sun where we can't go yet. Just keep out of range. That's all they got to do is keep out of distance of us. And right now, we're nowhere near light speed, so they can see us coming for years. They're parked out at Jupiter. Even at light speed, it's 2 years away.
So I just want to ask your guest there, Joe. It says so his theory there with the alien that came down. Where did it come from?
You talking about the Anunnakis?
Yeah, where did it come from?
Well, if you're referring to my audio book, it came from. It was. Well, I meant the theory here is about where they came from was Nibiru. And Planet X and whatever. But in the story, the Anunnaki story, I had basically she was like a traveling. She was like a space cowboy, independent, kind of not affiliated too much with the Anunnakis. She crashes in Pine Gap, and now they capture her and they take her to the military facility, and they want to start, like a lab rat. They want to find out what is she with this, that, whatever. And you're also having a special connection with the Aboriginal people in this story, with her and someone that she interacts with, and they kind of team up, and so that's a premise. So the Anunnakis are mostly from like Nibiru and and that sort of thing,
Is it when you're saying about Aboriginal, because there's a thing I think it's around Australia or the Philippines or Malaysia, where there is a race of people that are dark skinned with very blue eyes, and they've been said they've been the alien people of the earth because they have really awareness to nature and culture, and
those are people from Papua New Guinea.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's Papua. Yeah, they got blue eyes, they got blonde hair, but they look like Aboriginal. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, it's just interesting. No, your book went that way. That the alien went to Australia, and Australia was the penal colony of England.
Yeah, I like I said,
What?
Don't get us thrown off of Ozzy. No, we know y'all aren't criminals down there in Ozzy land. We love you, Aussies. Yes, we do.
Yeah,
Even if y'all have
love
lost y'all's pets and stuff, you know. Well, you know what? Do we love the city Aussies? I don't know. We love the rest of you Aussies, that's for sure. I can't speak for you city Aussies. Y'all gotten a little weird lately. But the rest of y'all are all right. What about it, Clara? What about the Anunnaki? Well, no, a lot of if you get into the ancient writings, most people consider the Anunnaki these tall, human-like. They didn't say human-looking; they said human-like, which suggested they didn't look exactly like us. And it does make sense that they would create a race to help mine and colonize the planet if they were going to live here. It's just the reptilians were here as well, and they decided for some reason to intervene. But they didn't start a war; they just intervened through DNA. And we all know we got a reptilian section in our brain. We can't escape that fact that every human on the planet's got a reptilian section in their brain. So it makes sense that the story is close to true. And then with the RH negative thing that showed up, later, 35,000 years ago, it suggests that might have been the gray showed up. That's probably the three sources of our primary DNA. Might be even why the aliens are so interested in us, because one day, a billion years from now, we may become like light beings. So they might be really interested in staying on our good side. Or seeing how you develop into that kind of being, because they haven't yet. So maybe it's there's no telling. There's a lot of reasons for them to be here, and there's lots of reasons for them to be messing with us, but they don't seem hostile. I mean, other than abducting us, which sucks. They don't really seem hostile. They're not interfering in our governments. They're not changing our world. They're not helping us or hurting us. They're just kind of interfering, but not in a way that's really making a difference. They're still leaving the choices, good or bad, up to our dumbasses. Which sometimes I wish they would interfere and say, hey, like Fukushima or Nagasaki, not Nagasaki, but Fukushima or Chernobyl or 3 Mile Island. They could have interfered in any of that. They could interfere now. I mean, the Pacific's tainted all over the place. I mean, we got 5 miles of plastic. You could go build a house out in the middle of the Pacific right now on the top of some plastic. I mean, it's ridiculous. But they're not interfering in any of that. And they're not on TV trying to enlighten the masses and tell them how to change. For that matter, they could just get up and orbit on their big ship, but they're not doing that. Always remember this, ladies and gentlemen. Anytime you're talking about aliens, you always judge them like you judge your neighbor. You judge them by their actions, not by the way they look, not by the way they smell, not by the way they dress, but by the way they act. What are their actions? And as long as you do that, you'll always come out.
That's a very good point there, Joe. Do you think that most politicians that are in the federal government are aliens?
Nope. I don't think aliens would stoop that low, my friend. For them, you got to remember, races like these are united races. They don't probably have the kind of bickering we do. They're probably more enlightened species. They're probably moving more along directions. What do you think, Giovanni? You think they would be as dumb as we are and still be able to cross intergalactic space?
Well, that's the point there. It says that, do you think that maybe then the UN, UNESCO, the people that are involved in that are aliens, and they're directing political and
I don't think aliens have anything to do with any politics on Earth at all. I don't think they care. I don't think they want to be involved in. I really tell you, to be honest, I think the 3 primary players think our politics is beneath them.
Do you think Elon Musk?
It's like the smell of humans don't rub off of them or something. They don't. In some ways, they're kind of racist in the fact that they really do think of us as more like pets than equals. Okay. They don't really consider us equals. We just haven't got there yet.
Okay.
Hey, so Joe, have you?
Go ahead, Giovanni. What's up, man?
Yeah. No, I just got to mention. Has anybody read the book called Alien Agenda?
Yeah, long ago, man. That was
a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think you're right. Well, we were talking earlier about the fact of we are way. I think we're probably like the lowest form of beings that just we are in no way have any kind of whatsoever kind of knowledge or whatever than what they're such a higher race of individuals that we can't even touch the surface of how intelligent these beings are. We're nowhere near their technology also,
what's interesting about that, Giovanni? But I'm gonna give you a little help with that one. Father Monsignor Balducci, when I met him in Washington D.C., Paula Harris was translating for us, told me that the Vatican itself considered the aliens to be at a higher form of being than we are, on a higher vibrational level and closer to God than humans are. That's a quote, by the way, of what he said. And he spoke directly for the Vatican. You can look him up. It's Father Monsignor Balducci. And it was a very interesting. Matter of fact, you can probably still get the lecture. The original lecture was done in the X Conference 9, I think it was, or in 2009, I think it was. It's a very interesting thing. And then later on, another gentleman who was an astronomer for the Vatican came out and also backed that up, that the Vatican felt like these beings were higher and closer to God than we were. I always found that very fascinating. And I was like, oh, man, Vatican's getting scared that somebody's between us and God. Oh, shit.
You mentioned Father Balducci. It says, was he the guy from the 1970s that was on the SNL, like Saturday Night Live? Father Balducci?
No, not the same guy.
No,
what
okay.
I was to add with this
guy was
Pope
a
that we have, hasn't he agreed to baptize ETs, that if they made themselves known to the human race? I've been reading about that he was the first one to pretty well say openly that he welcomed them into the church.
Yeah, he believes there's aliens. He doesn't see, but he's the first pope that's said what I said. Why do you limit the creator? I always ask my Christian friends this and my Muslim friends this. Why do you limit the creator? You're telling the God that he can't create other races. I'm like, what? He created us. Why couldn't he create a race? I'm confused at this point. But humans want to think we're the center of the universe. That's all.
Do you understand that the Pope, the Vatican, the popes there, besides the last couple of years, there are from big, huge money families out of Europe, and that's the way that succession has gone on, and big, huge money families. I talked about this. Medicis, like the families. So like the people that actually run the Vatican or the Pope that's in charge is from a very wealthy family. And this is proven. This is like knowledge.
Wait, what Pope's very well? Not this Pope. He's a Jesuit. Jesuits aren't wealthy.
I said, except for this new one.
Yeah, because he's a Jesuit.
Of them are all wealthy industrial families. Like
that's why this Pope is in, because of that. That's exactly why he's in office. First thing he did was audit the bank, man. The Pope, nobody's audited the Vatican bank in forever. They had a heart attack.
People don't are aware. They're in January. The Vatican bank was there was $1 billion worth of money stolen from the Vatican bank, and that was gone out there, and people were fired. This all went on before the COVID lockdown went on, because this is crazy. Like, people don't understand how corrupt actually some of the business stuff is out there. And there was lots of money, and this is all ties money and stuff like that. And this is like not even tax money. This is just people giving money to the church, and then it was just stolen away from the bank by corrupt people that were working in the bank, because they were upset that the person that was in charge was not a person of the family that they wanted.
Yeah, well, who cares?
Okay.
It's go ahead.
Who, me? You talking to me?
Whoever was just speaking, yeah, go ahead. I was going to say something, but I cut somebody off, so I was going to let y'all go.
No, I was going to just mention is that there, I mean, there's so many things that are we the people of this planet that we're lied to. We're not given the truth to. They say that they don't want UFOs to be exposed because we may be a hostile situation, but they're not hostile. There's no hostility going on, Yeah,
if they wanted to take us over, we'd be done.
Oh, kidding me. Now the other thing I was going to mention too is among the group here that I'm talking with, have any of you had any reoccurring dreams or dreams about a particular race of aliens that you still continue to have? And everybody has a certain one that they're attracted to or they communicate with. Like for me, it's like the Nordics. Now, do any of you guys have any experience with aliens that you've had through dreams or reality?
I think Lori told me it was the Dell type. I'm not sure what that meant.
That's why Joe says that I'm locked in a cage.
She keeps her alien in a cage, man. So you got to wonder about that. No, I mean, actually, recurring dreams is one of the first things to finding out that you're a contactee. It's one of ICAR's. It's part of our. When we send out applications, or when people come in and want to send us a case or something, that's one of the questions that are asked. Do you have dreams? What makes you think you may have had contact? Reoccurring dreams is a good chance. It's a good place to start too, to try to draw out some of the truth or pull out some of the information. It's also a good place to start if you got to do hypnosis or something on those lines. But
I was just going to say that there are so many people out there that believe, non-believers, say, a dream is just a dream. A dream is just nothing but a bunch of crap. That's not true at all. I don't believe that at all. I believe in astral projection. I believe in all that stuff. We leave our bodies, in alien race communication. You can either hang out with them in real life or through dreams and stuff. And I've had dreams of draconians, reptilians, Palladians, everything, Anunnakis. And that's the thing about it, though. That stuff is real. I'm telling you, super, super real, but people want to laugh at us. Go ahead.
Okay, if you had dreams with all those things there, what did they say to you? Because this is really interesting. I would love to hear. What did they say to you?
Well, I'll be honest with you, though. The only one that communicated with me was a girl, female girl that's well known with the Billy Meyer case. Her name was Samyasi. She's a beautiful blonde Palladian. Okay. Ooh. I was in a very pure land. She was wearing white. She was very beautiful, whatever. And she was guiding me out of this area because all the people that were evil people that were not doing the right thing were being washed away into the ocean. And all the good people were being brought into this fortress. But as we were getting in, a draconian came in, was trying to get in. So, now a lot of these extraterrestrials are they're telepathic, and sometimes they talk, sometimes they don't. It just depends, though. But most of the time, it's been just kind of the way their movements are, or to guide you to do something. But I did have a dream about draconians, or was it reptilians, where their language is very snarly and whatever. So I haven't had a conversation, so to speak, with one, but the dreams I have they seem so real. And when you have this vision or when you're with these higher intelligent beings, so you don't want to leave and come back to Earth, because living on this planet is like hell.
Well, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting question. Is that's actually been a topic that's actually been brought up about that Earth is the in between. It's not the heaven. It's not the fall down where you're done. But Earth is like the.
So what'd you say? Earth is purgatory?
Well, no, that's the question that's been brought up, and I don't believe that, but that's a question that's been brought up.
No, I'm just asking. Well, Earth could be purgatory. A lot of people believe Earth is purgatory. It's it's not hell and it's not heaven. It's purgatory.
You know what it feels like, Joe? You know what it is? I almost feel like living on Earth is like it's like they thrive on hostility. They thrive on misery. You never hear happy stories about good things. It's always, they love the media and all this. They love to thrive on misery and pain and sorrow. It's almost like a sadistic thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
it is weird, but I've noticed over the years it has to do with types of political beliefs, types of religious beliefs, because a lot of people still today, it's like if I got a friend of mine, actually a couple of friends of mine who spam me with these TikTok things all the time. A lot of this stuff is hilariously funny, laid back, fun. But what we've got is we've got a disconnect with about 40 or maybe 45% of the people on the planet have just gone, I don't want to say dark side, they've just gone negative. They can't help themselves, and it just keeps drawing more and more people into it because they're just negative, and they can't. No matter what goes on, they can't get out of it. And I understand the COVID shit's hard on everybody, and it's hard to be positive in situations like this, both financially and in other ways. But hey, people, sooner or later, it's going to end. And you got to think about that because you don't want to be in a nut lunar job when it's over and you can go free and go run into the beach and wherever the hell it is, you know.
I want to your guest there that you have on the show, and I think he's had a great. I really want to react.
Oh, we're gonna have him back so he gets some more time in.
I really want to read his book though, but he said it was a tall blonde alien, and this is the thing though. Did she look like Nina Hartley? Because I was banned off of Facebook for 2 weeks for posting a non-nude picture of Nina Hartley, and I'm just wondering if that's what she looked like.
I would say there were some similarities there. I would also say that she kind of looked a lot. She also kind of looked like, I know this is going to sound, she also looked a kind of almost like Gwyneth Paltrow a little bit.
Ooh, another alien with the goop.
Yes. She and if you ever want to research about the Palladians, they were first kind of brought into media attention by Billy Meyer, and a lot of people are kind of skeptic about his stories, saying, we don't know about the UFOs he took. They look kind of fake, but all this went down in 1974, and Semjase was a stunningly tall, beautiful blonde, and telepathic and stuff. So, there's a reason they choose us. We don't choose them. They see if you're pure at heart and there's a connection, and they'll just reach out to you. And as Joe was saying, maybe we're contactees or whatever the hell we are.
Okay, so we got so out of that, it's a tall blonde that's either Nina Hartley or Gwyneth Paltrow, and that's unbelievable because you know what? I'd be excited to meet one of those aliens.
It's it's my stepmother was an alien chick. That's who it was.
Yeah, exactly. Kim Basinger.
Yeah, there you go. It's Kim.
They would just put you in a cage, Bill. They'd be like, get in the cage.
Just saying, it was Kim
man,
Basinger.
Not you too.
Well, I've been getting Trump spam for an hour now. Like, people stop with the Trump spam. I don't care what Trump's doing.
I gotta go back to my cage.
Yeah, stop being bad. Get out of trouble. Canadian ladies, please donate to save the Canadian men. We know they're becoming vastly extinct up there now. That they're being locked in cages and not fed. Ladies.
There's a lot of chatter on this line, man. Do you hear that?
It's been on and off all night. I don't know what the hell it is. It's got to be through one of the phone lines. It's hard to say.
It's like a whole other show.
Somebody's mic. It's actually one of the mics picking up the audio and feeding it back, but yeah, it's not. Usually, it'll show me which one of y'all are doing it. It'll light up on a thing, but for some reason, none of them are lighting up when it's happening. So that's why I always tell a lot of people to mute your mics. It's weird. What's that? Let's see.
Hey Joe. Hey Joe. I'm sorry. I was going to tell you something though. So there's hot spots everywhere, but let me tell you something though. Nevada, even though we have all this gambling and we got everything going on here, they still are very inquisitive about Las Vegas. And the thing of it is that this is definitely this is a tremendous hot spot, and whatever is going on here, there's a lot of stuff going on here in Las Vegas with aliens, and I'm telling you.
But I'm gonna tell you why.
And I'm gonna say is that isn't it true that Nevada prostitution is legal?
Not all of Nevada. Only counties under 250,000 people.
That's called Pahrump. That's in Pahrump, Nevada. Pahrump.
Yeah. That's where Art Bell's town is from, and what's her name? Heather Wade's there too. So there you go. But somebody said Lisa. Recently they made it Vegas and legal in Vegas. I don't know. I ain't been in Vegas in a while, so I don't know.
But that was.
And my wife's not gonna appreciate it if I go ask either.
I was just putting that whole thing there about blondes, and usually that's a big area.
But Giovanni. There's two reasons why it's like that. One, though, you should look up Charles Hall's stuff because he talks about the tall whites from Area 53 that used to go to Vegas to gamble. That shit I love that story. And I didn't believe him at first, but I met some state troopers and some other people who verified it out of Vegas. It was kind of interesting, but it's an interesting story in itself. And they're just a separate group of aliens that are just kind of here with the government. We're like a stepping stone for them for where they're going. So they hang out here for a while and they zip along, but.
There's a lot of. I was going to tell you, man. My friend called me once. My friend was working for Channel 5 News in Las Vegas, and he said, Giovanni, I want you to get in your car and rush down Las Vegas Boulevard, kind of going toward, toward downtown. And what happened was is that there was a massive UFO. People were running outside the building. It was one massive mothership, and emerged out of it were smaller UFOs. So I'm telling you, this place has got some serious action going on.
Oh yeah, you'll see a lot of stuff there. But that's what I was going to tell you though. That the reason why is tourist cities are famous for UFOs. You want to know why? Yeah. Because it's easy for them to do mass abductions by bringing people like Gulf Breeze, Florida. We've got families. We got cases there where they'll pick up 30, 40, 50 families at a time. It's easy. You just pull them to a place, bring them into an area, pick them up when you need to. You got them all in one area. You don't have to go hopping around the country to grab them. The very first time we got tipped off in one of these cases, some lady kept finding sand in her car and shit, and she couldn't understand why. And then so she started checking her mileage and found out every night that her car was getting 250 miles on it. Well, we set up some cameras and found out this bitch was sleepwalking, getting in her car and driving to Gulf Breeze, Florida, getting abducted and then coming back and driving home.
Wow.
I was like, and it ain't even the first case we had like that. It was crazy. But now we noticed that ET changes according to us a lot of times, or according to what we learn. So, but nowadays they just call you to an area. Gulf Breeze has been a hot spot for a long time. There's places like I said, Las Vegas is a hot spot. There's other places along California, and just anywhere they can bring in a big, large group of people and just come in and take them. And there's so much traffic in the airs in areas like that people don't notice anything extra. And they don't really throw on the radar, so it's kind of like whatever.
Joe, the person there that was driving in the car, the female, was she blonde? Because this will just confirm the blonde stuff there from before.
Yeah, I don't know what color hair the tall one's there. I think her hair is white, actually. I actually think their hair is white. Yeah, that's what they call it. They're almost like albino, because it's a real skin color. It's not a mutation. They also get really pissed off really easy and have been known to hurt and even kill humans. They don't like you screwing with their kids. They don't like you approaching them too quickly. They killed 2 guards by accident, not on purpose, just because they're so much stronger than we are. Just flung one into a wall and killed him. I did several interviews with Charles. His 3 books are still out there. Millennial Hospitality.
Okay. Now this comes in there. You said that these guys are stronger than regular humans, and does this go and confirm with the part there of the Men in Black that were government snoops that they're out there to stop UFO knowledge was out there? And they were they're sort of like a hybrid that was created by the alien and the science, like DARPA, whatever you want to call it, a separate stuff there. But a government thing there to stop knowledge going out there about alien visitation.
Yeah. For the most part, the government don't screw around with ET. They want to know what they're doing, but they don't like to mess with because ET gets pissed off. There can be repercussions for interfering with what they're doing. And for military abductees, we found this out early on. Sometimes when the government would take an abductee or contactee, ET would come take them back. And there were repercussions for the people who took them. So most of the time it was more like melt their brains, but there was repercussions for it. They're very, they're for some reason or another, ETs, some contactees are more precious than others. And they don't want to be screwed with by the government. And unfortunately, when people come out and speak publicly, you're setting yourself up to be taken by the government because they don't know. You might know something. A little sodium pentothal, a little sodium anethol, a little deep telepathic hypnosis, and you can find out a lot in somebody's head. So if it's there, plus you can adjust their thinking.
Laura was just telling me that today about the Men in Black are actually military aliens.
No,
right?
That's not what it said. No.
Oh, okay. Well, explain it then.
well, I don't know. I kind of popped out for a minute, but it was a documentary that was sent by somebody that supposedly claims to be a whistleblower. And he was claiming that half were human alien hybrids, he said. He talked about the mind control programming he went through for 9 months. And so it's an interesting documentary, but to me, I still want to find out, I haven't got quite to the end of it, how all of a sudden he's remembering all this. But
you never know what's going on with that, because there's some weird stuff. I know we're going to get out of here. So, Giovanni, I'm going to get you back in a couple weeks so we can get some more time in, because we had a lot of extra help tonight. And we originally, when we scheduled the show, we had scheduled because we knew it was going to be a Georgia election runoff. So, and usually we take that kind of stuff up. But
Giovanni, I'd love to talk more with you about it. I hope I don't know.
Everybody on here actually hosts on the network, so everybody does. But why don't you plug yourself, tell them where they can find you, how to get in touch with you, stuff like that.
Okay. Well, first of all, once again, Joe, I want to thank you. This has been I love this social interaction about these kind of wonderful things. I gave you some links, but also if you want, I'm on Facebook under Glovanni Gaetano, Gaetano. I also provided you a link, and you'll see a picture. You'll see a picture of me looking cool.
Okay, cool. I got that picture by the way. Yeah, it's a good looking picture.
I know. I'm a good looking man. No.
No modesty here at all. He fits right in with this group, man.
What can I say?
No, that's a good thing. I'm not saying that. I'm just giving you a hard time.
It's okay. You know, Italians, we're the best looking guys anyway.
That's true. There's no argument for me.
Except for Ukrainians. Ukrainians are a little bit
hairy. That's what Ukrainians are. They're hairy bastards. They are. I was just teasing.
I don't know. I haven't heard too many stories about it. Hey, I want to go find myself a Ukrainian guy.
Yeah. Oh, you never got a ring to the whole thing, man. I don't know what that's about.
Exactly. So Glovanni Gaetano on Facebook. I'm also the same name under Instagram. And reach out to me. Anybody want to be my friends on Facebook? We can chat more. We can do whatever. And like I said, I really appreciate you having me on your show. And hopefully, we'll do this again.
Back on in a couple of weeks.
Joe. Hey, Joe. Can you? When will this? Would you?
The archive. Listen. The archive it'll automatically publish on YouTube and SoundCloud automatically in about 8 minutes after the show's over. It'll publish automatically, and then I'll put it out. But just hit me with an email later on, and I'll give you a new date to come on, and I'll give you a link as well. Go
Actually,
ahead.
We're already friends. I didn't even realize that.
But anyway, we got to get out of here because coming up next is the fabulous Michelle DeRochier on The Outer Realm, and she's one of the Canadian women, and I don't want to make her mad because I might get hurt.
And don't worry about the Dell. The Dell is in his cage. He's back in there, and his show is on Monday.
I'm gonna get you some pads for that cage, man, so it's comfortable.
I only use the plasma whip when he's really chatty. He's getting the whip tonight.
Yeah, so Joe, don't forget. Joe, don't forget to email me the link of this show because I want to share it on my Facebook page.
Oh well, I'll put it up. I'll send you both the YouTube and the SoundCloud because we got a video as well. Because remember, look, next time you only think about it, you got video, so you're good looking. You want to get on camera. The rest of us good looking people. The ugly ones don't get on camera. The ugly ones stay off camera. The good looking ones get on camera. But anyway, we got to get out of here. We're up against a hard week. But thanks again, Giovanni. I'll get in touch with you and I'll get your book back in about 2-3 weeks.
Great.
Guys and girls, don't forget, coming up next, Michelle DeRochier. She'll be here in about 10 minutes. She's got a great guest for the night. Check her out. Everybody write to Amelia, tell you love her, hug her, kiss her, give her good things, send her chocolate, things like that. No, don't send her an alien. She's already an alien. Give me a break. But on that note, we got to go. Thanks again for tuning in to United Public Radio, UFO Undercover, and we will see y'all soon. Good night, everybody. Dun, 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 dun.